So we've got Lisa's favorite North Pole building, the Crayola workshop. Is that what it was called? Factory?
Factory, I believe.
Okay. So we've got, as Stefan was saying, Crayola is actually a Hallmark property. So this is kind of a weird collaboration that fits right in Millie's wheelhouse. So we've got a bunch of crayon stuff, and we've got some cool ideas. We're going to make a vignette display for the Crayola factory, which we don't have, so you'll have to imagine that part.
That's right. When it comes in, we'll put it on. So the idea is, so this at Michael's, they have these cones, foam. They're more like the floral foam, but that's okay. We can paint that. And then I had this old tube at home, and I figured, well, it's actually kind of the right size for a crayon. So we got 3 tips, and what we're going to do is we're going to cut 3 sections of equal size as a base, and then we're going to put our foam base on it, and then we're going to put the rest of the crayon on top as if it's going through the display. So maybe 3 different sizes, and then we've got we've got colors that match a lot of the, standard kind of Crayola colors. It doesn't have to match perfectly, but we can use that to paint the tip and paint the edge, and then we can actually use a construction paper to put around this, maybe with a black stripe, just like the crayons. So we're not sure if we're going to get to the end of this. We'll see how we go, but if we don't, we'll...
What have we got, about 40 minutes?
About 40 minutes.
Okay.
So
we better get cracking.
Yeah, I think so. So the tricky part will be to try to cut this. I do have a measuring tape, so we could try to make 3 little, so we're going to try to...
How tall do you think you want them?
Probably just about
3 or 4 inches?
Yeah, just so the fun part, Chris.
Yeah, you could.
How's it going?
Great.
He's got the hang of it.
Let's turn a little bit.
I think Chris has done this before.
Yeah. When I was a little kid, I used to love cardboard tubes.
Each other up with them.
It's nice. At least I would cut it. It wouldn't line up. There you go. Beautiful. It'll work. It'll work. I'm gonna start. Well, I'm gonna help you.
Yeah.
You okay?
I don't know. Probably. It'll be
Okay,
fine.
I'll try. I'm gonna start cutting a base for it. And while we do that, I'm going to give a quick overview of the foam cutting tools. I know a lot of people have heard this before, but I like to do it every year so that a lot of people on YouTube that watch the video are first timers. A lot of questions I get there are people who've never done this before and they're watching our videos for the first time and they're new to villaging or just foam carving. So they start with the basic question, which is also great, and we want to make sure that we cover that. So we're going to talk about that for a quick seconds. Bit. Good, Chris? So, the tools that I use all the time is the hot wire foam factory tools. I used to do this with a knife, like when I first started. An actual knife like Chris is using kind of thing. Cut foam, and not that it didn't work, but it was a heck of a mess, and you were limited in what you could create with that. So once I got to know the tools, I never went back. So, as a quick overview, you've got two kind of groups. You've got the craft tools, which come with their own power supply. They're one temperature, you plug it in, and it works. So like the small straight knife is a craft tool, and it's by itself, and it does great. And then you've got the pro tools. The pro tools typically just have a bigger wire, and you need a more sturdier power supply for it. So you need a separate power supply like we have here, but they also have different kinds. If you have a power supply, you can actually use them for your craft tools as well. So what happens with mine is I just put the craft tools power supply away, and I just use the big one because I can do everything with it. So some of the tools that I probably use 4 tools almost on, not every display, but on a lot of displays. Your first one is your sculpting tool, which is a very thin wire that you can kind of bend around, but it won't keep the shape, so it's more of a loose kind of wire, and you can do a lot of different details with that. So we use that a lot. I use that for North Pole and things that have a lot of texture to it. The arms don't heat up, so you can hold it like this and play with it, and it's a really fun tool to play. And the wire is pretty long as a new one, but you can make it as short as you want, so that you don't have a huge span, but depending on what you want, you can do that. So that's a real good one. You've got the straight knife. The straight knife actually comes in different lengths, 4-inch all the way up to 8 actually. And this is perfect for making holes, especially for your lights, your light cords and things like that, or something you need to go through. Like my North Pole display over there, I'm gonna have to make holes in the back of the buildings for the light to go through. So this is what I'm gonna use for it. So that's super useful. You've got the freehand router. It's almost like the sculpting tool, except that because the arms move also, except that your wire is a lot thicker and bigger. So you can shape it, it will retain that shape. So if you're doing like rocks, like to make like a square end, and then you can make some really nice rocks with it, staircases, which we've done a lot here. So that's a very essential tool. They're all essential, really. And then you've got the engraver. So if you want to do just cobblestone brick, and you don't want to have to worry about taking the long knife and going too deep, because then it's hard to paint or you get through the foam sheet, you just take the engraver, because just the tip heats up. So you can use it almost like a pencil and just kind of carve out your designs and your details. So I know who here has the tools, just most of them, so it makes sense. And then you've got the bow cutter for bigger jobs. This one is the 4-foot one. It's a brand new one, so it's all still wrapped up, and it comes with its own power supply. So you can make it 4 foot long, so that you can cut like a whole foam sheet in one shot, or you keep it in this format and make it 2 feet, and then you can do a lot of carving. So when I do the North Pole display extension for the gallery, I'll be using this because the way I carved it was ridges, and I use this to do it. It's super quick, super fast, but not too many people have this because it's more for the bigger jobs. So that's the overview of the tool. Hello, Chris.
Hey man,
How's it going?
great. I'm not tired at all.
Let me get the other two. So here's what we're gonna do. We're going to have, these are the bases of our crayon. And then we're gonna have a display. I'll probably take a wider one actually, just to give us a bit more room here. And we're gonna have our display with the Crayola thing on there, okay? And then these will have the color of whatever crayon we decide to do. And then Chris is cutting the other end of the crayons, various heights, so that we can have them sticking out, or at least maybe the back ones, we'll see, so that we have crayons built into it. So I think that'll be a fun display. And then if we wanted to, we could use the construction paper and even make, you know, Crayola colored mountains in the back or something like that. So we'll see, as long as it doesn't get too much. But this will look like the crayons are going through the display, but they're not. So we're going, I've seen the piece in person. It's your typical North Pole piece. It's not huge, but we want to give it nice space. I always kind of double the space I need for a building. For the accessory, for trees, so if you can, that's what I try to do, is kind of double the size so I have room to make things, staircases, because if you make it really thin, look at that. See? Bingo. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to start doing some carving in a couple of levels. Yeah, just different lengths, and this will all be covered. Hang on, let's see, how long is a sheet? Yeah, good.
So, I only want to make one more cut. It's perfect.
Damn.
I couldn't have planned that better.
Thank you. All right, so let's get going on this. We're going to do a couple of levels on this, but I'll make sure that it doesn't. Actually, it might be kind of cool if one of the crayons was above, so we'll make it work. So let's do that.
You're making the cut.
Huh?
If we're cutting any more, you're making
No. I'm just saying that this one was going to be elevated higher, you know, like a 2-level thing, so so that it'll be like, you know. And then we're going to cut them in half now. Okay, so let's do this. These are leftover.
All, Chris.
You need a miter saw.
This tube actually I used this when I went to Houston for a gathering. Remember that? I don't know if it was 2013, I can't remember. But this is when I had a display made out of shaper sheet, and I had literally made the display at home, flattened it, rolled it up, put it in there, brought it to Houston, and reshaped it in my hotel room. So it was kind of weird, to be honest with you, but it worked. So these are cutouts from other displays that I made, so we can use them as backdrops. So I tried to reuse as much as we can. So we're going to start with doing a couple of elevations on this thing. And then we're going to glue this down, make this area a little bit higher. So let's go ahead and plug some tools in there. Your last cut, buddy, that's it.
Our saw is fading.
It's the end of it. See, the only thing I tell them before the class is, hey, we're going to make a Crayola display. I have no details, no nothing. And then he shows up and it's like, gosh, dang it. I'm going to use a small one, sorry. It's going to be a little faster, probably. Put that in there. Chris, you did it! Come through. All right, so do you want to work on the crayons or the display?
I'll work on the crayons.
Okay. So I was thinking.
Construction paper. So you got a red, the light blue, and then the neon green, and then black stripes on them.
Yeah,
Okay.
just like a crayon kind of thing. And then the tip, we're just gonna paint.
Okay.
And then we're probably gonna have to cut some little round foam. You know,
Something.
yeah, something to put up there, unless we can use construction paper, but I'm not sure that's
Yeah, I don't know.
solid enough. I'll let you.
Probably make it
Design.
on foam. Cool.
And then the crayons that we got, we can actually make little fences out of crayons or something, you know, whatever. But this will be Chris's model, right?
There we go.
And I didn't know until now that Crayola was a Hallmark brand. Find something new every day. So they get money from the license, and then they get money from selling the building. It's like a double kind of dipping there. It's kind of cool. I'll put that here, Chris, for you.
Thank you. Do you have like a skewer or something? Or a greening pen or?
I've got floral pins. Is that a line?
Yeah, it's perfect.
You can it doesn't unzip any. So do that. Okay. Okay. So take the straight knife here. The smaller the tool, generally.
What happened to the cap?
I dug one out. That was new. Back here. Wow, good eye. Brand new one, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
So Chris is going to start on that. I'm going to cut this, but yes, I was saying that the smaller the tool or smaller the wire, the faster they heat up. So if you only need to cut 2 inches, then might as well take the small one. Go ahead and do a random shape here. It's nice when you can see through, because then you know that your knife is straight. Because otherwise, you might be quite tilted and it's not quite the cut you wanted. Yes. Do that. Do this on there. And then we're going to do some cutting. Let's do it this way. You good?
Yeah, I was thinking I should probably paint the circles at the same time, so I'll just
Okay.
make those real quick.
Yeah. You want this or?
Oh yeah, that's perfect.
I didn't bring any 1 inch, but you can go ahead and take that. Oh, hang on a second. Do this. Okay. So he's going to make a base for the tip to sit on, and then in the meantime, we're going to another power supply here.
Let's see if we have a. You know what? I think I got my pocket.
Okay. This is another of their power supply. It's different from the. This is the big Pro Station, kind of industrial kind of thing, can power any of the tools, including the bow cutter. And this is a smaller one, but it's also got a different heat setting, so you can make it hotter or not, and a separate switch. So pretty useful too. So we're gonna see if we can run in parallel here.
Anybody had their first round of vaccines yet?
Yep.
You did? Was it
Now
painful?
you're revealing your age, huh?
Well, no, you could be a prisoner.
Yeah.
No, sorry.
No, you don't.
Sorry, that was uncalled for.
Teacher, police
Nurse.
officer.
Nerd, yeah, that's right. You're an essential worker. That's what you are.
Right.
Did it hurt or was it okay?
No, it wasn't, no,
No.
nothing. It was the Moderna.
Okay.
No different than any other shot.
No.
The Pfizer was the one that's like really cold or something, isn't it?
My son's been going to school, then home, then school again, then home again, and it's like, you just don't know.
In person?
Well, you did, and then they were sent back home because of cases. Then he went back, and then went home. So I'm amazed that he's able to walk through, to work through this, because it's kind of a little bit tough. But he's doing all right.
Is Claudia doing the remote thing still?
Yes, she is doing a remote ASU degree that starts in March.
Oh, okay.
So,
Changed her mind entirely on that.
yes, software engineering. It's like, okay, well, it's not too far off, but she was supposed to go to California.
Right,
5 years, that was the plan. So we were kind of like mentally ready for it. And then she decided not to, which was not a bad thing, because I'm not sure I want her in LA right now. Just the cost of living alone was like, oh gosh, this is rough. So, nice to have her home. So, I'm just using the straight knife right now, just to show you the kind of cuts you can do. I'm going to switch to the sculpting tool, because it's quicker and we can also do something different. But really, if you're going to get tools, it's a little better if you get a kit that has multiple tools, because it's kind of hard to do a display with just one tool. But I'm sure if you haven't tried these, once you do, and if you look on the Hot Wire Foam Factory website, you can see a lot of examples of what people do with these tools. It's not just village. Dinosaurs, full-scale dinosaurs, cemetery entrance. Chris and I have done stuff like that as well. It's pretty cool. So let's go ahead and see if I can get this going. So I'm going to carve this up real quick, all around the base. Yes, Chris, are we up?
Yes, we're good.
You see, if I unplug you,
That does make it a little bit more
technically,
difficult.
yes. So let me see if I can use this here. I do that to him all the time. Okay. All right, Chris, I'm gonna unplug something here.
It's all right.
I'm not sure what it is, but hang on. Let's unplug this and see what happens. Yep, it wasn't that. Okay. So I'm using the power supply that comes with the tool, and same thing. Now I looked at buying like large size crayons, and you can, but they're like $40 a piece. I'm like, wow, if I want three of those, that's $120 for the crayons. Were, I don't know, $2, and the tube, well, the tube is an old tube, but so sometimes it just doesn't make sense to prop it. And I didn't even know if you could cut them, so I was like, well, I don't want 3 red crayons of the same size. So, plus it would make the class about 5 minutes.
Right.
Unpack it, and that would be it.
My job would have been easier.
Yeah. Like, why didn't you do that?
So my invoice for these crayons is about $120.
14 hours of labor.
Yeah.
And the sculpting tool, like I said, can be pretty wide, so kind of tackling two pieces of foam at the same time here. Next time I'll probably bring a couple of Halloween examples that small displays like the North Pole one that I made, and I started to look for oddities, things that are weird. And I found this guy who found a doll's head deep in the Pennsylvania woods, okay? Severed doll head,
I think I've heard this one.
Oh, really? Well, he didn't tell me much. All he told me was that it was very remote. Found the doll head, no other doll parts, just the head, and he figured maybe somebody would want this, and sure enough, I bought it.
Sucker born every day.
That's right. And it's really creepy. So I kind of made a Halloween display that has a built-in shadow box in there. Remember our shadow boxes of wood?
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same thing, but into the foam display. And I put the doll head in there with one of those flame flickering
Oh,
bulbs
very cool.
and some vines in there, so it looks pretty creepy. So the funny thing is I had a lot of dreams about children once I got there. Like, this thing's gotta go. My wife was like, don't bring that in the house, it stays in the garage. You know, it's got the dots on the head where the hair was, you know, it's really creepy. So I'll bring it here, so we're all cursed together.
It sounds like a new business idea. We could just
Hunt for,
hunt for garbage
Yeah.
and sell it on eBay.
hey, you got me hooked. So that'll be cool. And then I made another display that has a green bulb built into it. It's like a swampy area with two little culvers kind of thing, so you could kind of see where the slime is coming out. And then in there I put a green LED bulb so that the culvers glow green. So I'll show that next time as well. Chris is doing a fantastic job with the crayons over there. These foam tips, like I said, are floral foam, but because Liquitex again is water-based, it's working. If it was normal paint, it would completely melt it. Do you see any melting, or is it okay?
No, but that is a lot more yellow than I expected.
Oh, well, that's okay. We got yellow crayons.
Yeah.
That's all right. Okay, so curve that a little bit. And give it. See how this display right now is kind of like your rectangle. You kind of can tell, you know, what shape I started with. So I want to change that a little bit just to make it more interesting. So I did a little staircase here. I'm going to go ahead and remove quite a bit of foam here because we're displaying one building. So we've got room just to make it a bit more interesting. And I'll carve under the staircase so it's more like almost like a little bridge kind of thing. It's the other nice part of working with smaller displays is you can handle them easier than if you have a big old 4-foot, you know, span. So this you can play with. So you can see the little staircase over here and a bit more shape to it. I'll do it on the other side too.
Is the glue gun still
Yes,
plugged in?
yes, go ahead. You can use that. So the tube we could paint, but since we've got the official Crayola construction paper, might as well
Then you'll
use
see the seams in the tube.
the seams in the tube.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right, exactly. So I didn't even
So
think
good-
about that.
Good job on the paper, Chris.
Look at Chris. That. More shape to this. Okay, so now we're gonna carve. Let's see, so this is what it's looking like right now. Make one more cut here.
Looks like the United States.
Yeah, it kinda does.
Florida.
Here in Florida. And then here you have Alaska. And Hawaii. Oh no! Hawaii over here. Something is smoking. Well, if you see fire, Tony, you let me know. Okay, so we're gonna put the building here. Put the little accessory, the little elf with the Crayola card, which is actually a nice size, and it's got Crayola crayons as the wheels. It's pretty cool. And then we have some room back there for some background trees, so that it's not too dry on that. It'll be fun. I'm gonna see, because I have this foam sheet glued to this one, it gets a little hard to carve in there. So I'm gonna switch over to this one here, my freehand router. See if we can get this guy going. Going okay, Chris? Mm-hmm. So, I can do the same thing, but I can reach a little better with this tool. That over here.
Stefan, the power supply you're using for that freehand router, is that from Hotwire too?
Are you talking about this one?
No, the one that you're
This
using.
one?
Oh,
Well-
don't you have it plugged into the surge suppressor? The black one at the,
Yes, they're all plugged in there. So I've got 3 power supplies going right now. I've got this one here, which is the big one that can power all
Right,
all
right.
tools. I've got this one here that can power
The bow.
everything except the bow cutter.
oh, okay.
And then I've got the tiny one. I'll unplug it because it's not actually used right now. This little tiny one.
Uh-huh.
This one comes in the box with the craft tools.
Oh,
This one is not a craft tool, so it's got a different jack, so you can't use that. But right now I'm using the big one, but I could use this one. Either one would work.
because I don't recall getting that one with my kit.
This one?
Yeah, yeah.
Which tool are you?
Oh, I don't know, I've had it forever.
Oh yeah?
She got hot wire.
Because it only comes with the sculpting tool
Uh-huh.
or the straight knife, the short straight knife. I think that's maybe the engraver. That's it. Now if you're buying a kit, then it will probably have this power supply instead.
Right, so you get the little one when you buy the tube of just the one tool.
Exactly. 'cause I
Right,
didn't-
the little
yeah.
tube thing.
Yeah, I was wondering where it came from.
Yeah, it should. If it's missing though, yeah, it
Yeah,
should. It
yeah.
should have one.
Yeah, no,
All right, so we got that. We're gonna let's make a little slope maybe for our cart to go up there. So I'm gonna plug this for a sec. Check the heat. That's pretty hot. And then Chris, how you doing?
Got a yellow crayon?
Look at this, guys. All right. All right, and then we've got. Do we have black in there?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I'm gonna reshape this because I want to make a path, a little slope going up this hill for the little cart. So I'm gonna reshape it a little more straight to give me something I can use that's a little wider, a little straighter. Okay, that should do it. And curve that right into it. So I'm gonna start at the top. And just kind of curve and go all the way down. And if you miss on your first shot, you try to be short rather than cutting too deep. So see over here, it's a little too high. So I'm gonna go back here and retouch that, and then we can sand this down. And then you can also do that to just melt it a little bit. All right. And then I think we've got a little sanding block in here somewhere. So I'll just make this transition a little smoother. And this is going to get snowed anyway, so it doesn't need to be perfect, but all right. Now that I did that, I'm going to carve the edges again. You can use these blocks of ice like I used in here. Sorry, Chris. In here, you know, D56 sells these little ice cubes. So I did like a little wall of ice cubes up here. It would look better if it was actually lit from behind, so they kind of glow, but it was going to be a little too much to have that, and so I just, and then these are not lit up yet, but you could light those up if you wanted to. Or you can just use them as decoration, like in here, little piles of ice cubes. Okay. Oh, Chris, you even got the trademark design going on there. Gonna finish this here.
Time we got.
12:25. Does that give us 5 minutes?
Yep. Guess we better hustle.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we will. Well, we could bring it back. We'll see.
can go a little over. If somebody's got someplace to be.
It's probably gonna take a little while. Okay, recap where we're at. Looking great, Chris. So these are gonna get the construction paper, same color. Hopefully we have enough.
Oh, yeah, we
And
can.
then we're gonna put that in here, and then what I'm gonna do at the end, well, yeah. I'm gonna do an extra piece of foam here that can go all the way down. So this guy's gonna go over this one. Now in the front one, we have to be a little strategic. Either we use the third one as a backdrop if it's too much in the way. So we'll see how that plays out. So let's see if I can make a little staircase extension for that. Should be able to do that. 4 inches. Okay. Oh, look at this. That might work.
Problem solve themselves.
I know, look at that. I'm gonna use this.
Good to go.
What?
Looking good. Let's see if we can finagle a little staircase out of this thing. It might be a little steep. I don't know. Let's see. Ooh. My elves are not gonna like this.
It's a steep climb.
Well, you know what? It's manageable. It's manageable. Yeah, we can make that work. Carve it just like the rest of the display. Whoops. Cut too much out. Dang it. What happens when we try to... Ooh, you too. It'll be in the back.
Yep.
We won't see it. All right, let's do it right. Do it right. All right, that would work. Do this guy over there. I got this giant pack of sponge brushes also at Michael's. So you know when we did the Halloween one and we painted the display black, and then we did some dry brushing on the edges to give it that rock. This is easier to use, or I find it better to use than a paintbrush, because you know you just use one of these, do your thing, and then throw it out instead of having to clean the brush. And the whole thing is like $6. So when we do some dry brushing in the next few classes, we'll use some of that as well. All right, Chris. Maybe I can do some yellow paper here. Do you have leftover yellow or?
No, I've just been folding them up inside.
Okay.
You want yellow?
Yeah. Start up and get into that. Thank you, sir.
Crayons though, because the
Didn't I say earlier you gotta like
We should cut them.
color some of it?
I like the idea. What do you need?
The scissors.
Scissors? This will
Pretty
just
good.
my balling it.
Peel
I
away.
think that's a little short. But it's a nice
Good eye,
bag.
Chris. It'll be in the back. Oh no.
Here, there's tape.
Oh, okay. Chris should be a kindergarten teacher.
Absolutely not.
Tie all the kids to the chair.
There is no amount of money. None.
It's a no-go?
No go.
All right, all right.
I think anybody that thinks that teachers are overpaid ought to teach kindergarten for
Yeah,
3 hours.
that's pretty rough. Okay, and the blue one, yeah, I think I got the book. I got the book. Ooh. Might be more of a. Chris is gonna align to a perfect degree. And then maybe next
What
class.
do you want,
during-
like over here?
Well, depends where. If we put, maybe we put the building here, so that could work. We'll see when we get the building. And then future class, we could build some little mountains. Figure it out, right?
Yeah. So we didn't quite finish today, but you can see the idea. And if you wanted to, you could go even a layer further, so you could have like a second layer of foam and the crayons extending up through. It's just kind of a cool idea. It's a little bit crafty. You could definitely do this with the kids. Once again, we are showcase displays on behalf of Millie's Hallmark. If you have any questions or if you'd like to pre-order some of the Department 56 releases, give the store a call at 480-893-3777.